Hello, Abhishek. How's it going? So I wrote up some comments for you. You asked for some clarification, so I'll go ahead and start doing that here. So in this example, there were a few things that stood out to me right away when I looked at it. Number one was just kind of the disconnect between this overall like we got this overall purple light that's kind of happening everywhere. If you're just looking at the environment, like look at the not the character, the floor and everything surrounding her, you can see that there's just like it's just purple light kind of everywhere. You've got this vignette coming in, but you can see it's kind of going all over the place. Except for when we get to this pocket of key light, you would expect a little bit more of that purple light to be in here, but it kind of disappears a little bit just because it's so saturated and so bright. I mean, I know on the outside light you would see a little bit of blue in the shadows and that kind of gets washed away by the key light, but this purple is so pronounced and so saturated that you kind of want to see it mixed into everything else. Now that doesn't bother me as much as not seeing it really in the shadows on the character. Because if you think about it being this broad and this bright and this kind of like omnidirectional, you would see it here, you'd see it here, you'd see it there. You'd see it in the shadow areas kind of filling in. And I'm not feeling that same purple light on the character as I am on the environment. Now I am seeing this, which is a magenta light that's coming in very specifically from that side, right? From behind the character and to the left. It's a very specific rim light. But there are two things about it. Number one is my first thought was like, oh, that's the same kind of purple light. But if you look closely at it, the color's not the same. This is more magenta, this is more purple. The other thing about it is this is more omni, and this is very, very specifically positioned in just catching that rim on his side there, on her side there. Now, but you're not really seeing it that on the ground at all. You're not like there's no influence that would imply that there's light coming in that way. So because of that, there's a little bit of a disconnect between what's happening on the ground and in the environment and what's happening on the character. Same thing here with this eye. Like, love that you've got that little eye ding in there, but given this situation, given these surroundings, given that type of eye, that black, very reflective eye, I would expect to see a little bit of the floor in there as well. It doesn't have to be as pronounced as this, but just something to kind of balance that out to get it to tie in. So that's really what I'm seeing mostly. It's this disconnect between the light and the color that's happening on the character versus the light and color that's happening on the ground. Now, like I am seeing this, like those two, those sync up very nicely. And I'm actually not the biggest fan of like straight top down lighting on a character, but given this character, given this shape, given this pose, I think it actually works out pretty well. And I think you're doing a good job because you're getting some good shaping coming down here, some good shaping coming across the belly, and it's good up in here around the feet. It's just getting the colors to line up between everything, making sure that the color that's happening back here is happening in there as well. So I would work towards that. I would work on just kind of tying all that up together, and I think that'll get you in a lot better place. All right, hope this helps, and I will talk to you soon. Happy lighting.